Okay, in going into this discourse, you want to look at your Pisces placement, and you want to look at the context of the house. In context of the house, what are the benefits, the gains, the resources, the relationships that makes that house dignified, that makes that house a place where you want to be, that makes that house something that you can celebrate? When you imagine what those things are, for example, if you have Venus entering Pisces, say at the second house, it could be your finances, okay? This could be finances. This could also be a certain level of self-esteem that you would like to be able to retain, okay? This could also be a sense of values that you feel you can defend or protect from being dissolved into others, okay? So, with that being said, what used to spoil it when you did have it? What used to ruin it when you did have it? And this brings us back to our lessons in hindsight, Pallas Athena, okay, of how we related with boundaries, accountability, discipline. And rather or not we allowed other people to lure us into consent, to transfer our estate into their trust so that they can benefit from it as executor of trust while leaving you outside of that trust, exploiting your estate. Okay? So, at that house, you have stories of people taking advantage of you, people taking you for granted, assumptions, because there's something that they're benefiting from you, they're gaining from you. It's you have value there by which Venus finds her exaltation, okay? Venus is exalted in Pisces, so therefore, what comes through Pisces, oh, this is a rich resource. Oh, there's all kind of treasures. Oh, wow, look at this. This is nice. Oh, wow. And you trade it to feel loved. You trade it to feel accepted. You trade it to feel secure. You trade it to feel like someone else can be a source of emotional codependency. You trade it to avoid rejection, to avoid scrutiny, to avoid judgment, to avoid being written off or threatened with being alone all by yourself because, oh, I'm not going to deal with you anymore if you don't give me that. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to punish you with the feeling of lovelessness, with coldness. I'm going to leave you isolated all by yourself under the bridge crying. Makeup smeared all over your face. Why? Because you didn't give me what I asked you to give me. You didn't do what I wanted you to do. You didn't empty your pockets for me. I'm going to guilt trip you. I'm going to shame you and everything else because you're not doing what I want you to do. You're not letting me exploit you. How dare you get some dignity? How dare you get some nerve? How dare you get some pride about yourself? How dare you respect yourself? Did you forget that you're my little whore? Did you forget that you're my prostitute? Did you forget that I'm the pimp and I tell you to walk up and down the street on 10 toes? And I better have my money in my hand? Did you forget that rule? Did you forget that you're supposed to put the money in my hand? Did I tell you to stop walking up and down the strip? The audacity of others who have expectations and assumptions over your value and over your concept of yourself, your self-esteem, what you believe yourself to be, what you think yourself to be, and consistently threatening you with duress, stress, and threat, emotional injury. if you don't give them the manifestation or fulfillment that they want out of you. So using your Pisces concept to fulfill their Aries expression. And now you found the nerve to say, actually, I'm working for me. This is my value. This is my estate. I am executor of this estate, not you. I'm taking claim to my identity. I am correcting status. No, you assumed of me that was my status. You felt entitled to my estate, and you're not entitled to my estate, and I'm correcting status. Oh, you got the nerve to get dignified and respect yourself all of a sudden? Oh, really? Oh. They're going to shame you. They're going to talk shit about you. They're going to threaten you. They're going to hold it against you. They're going to try to lure you right back into where you used to hang your head down. Where you used to say, oh, yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir, master. Tap dancing along. Doing what they want you to do. They're going to try it. But did we learn? Okay? Did we learn? Remember. Don't forget. Listen. Creative thought. Write this down. Okay? Write this down. Sugar-free. SUGA capital FREE. Okay? Sugar-free. All right? One of my favorite rappers. Check him out. If you listen to him, okay, you're free to listen to him and entertain yourself, but at the same time, you listen to the principle of the things that he says, okay? He beautifully articulates the power dynamics of lost consent, assumption, entitlement, the pimp, and the whole axis, okay? Because essentially that's what it is. It's where you was the hoe and somebody else was the pimp, and you empowered them to be the pimp while you be the hoe. You got blisters on your feet. The only reason you buy panties is to keep your ankles warm. And you know what that means. And it's for the pimp. So this happens collectively as well. In this nation, in all nations. The big pimp, the rich, the monarchs, the oligarchs, he's starting to see that some self-esteem, clarity of identity, dignity is being clarified in his prostitutes. They got in touch with their inner child. They started healing. They found a moral compass. They've taken accountability for their decisions in their life. All of a sudden, their spirit is starting to restore. Their heart is starting to restore. Their soul is starting to cure and restore itself. This is Mary Magdalene transforming and transmuting herself. We are the Mary Magdalene in body. Coming to power out of the darkness. Transmutation of the darkness and the venom into antidote. We are the Mary Magdalene. And they're feeling it. The pimp is feeling that the hoe is waking up. She's ready to sneak off. She's ready to walk off. She's ready to do something to get away from his oppressive power. Anything that it takes. She can't see a way out. She can't imagine a different life for her. She can't see how it's possible for her to get away from the strip. She can't see how she could get away from the pimping. But she believes that somehow a way will be made. She hopes, she dreams, she contemplates every night in fear and bruises and pain. But she found her dignity. Even as she goes through the motions of walking that strip, she found her dignity. She left her body there as her soul travels to find a way out. And you are the same person, I'm the same person, we are the same people right now at this stage. And that's the transfer of the number 1 year, 2026, 2026. Co-creating with the universe to conspire a way out, to free ourselves. Understand that. All right, listen up. Pisces Venus transit has to have complete consideration of the fact that there's a provision in Pisces that safeguards and preserves the opportunity at hand. Preservation and safeguard of the opportunity at hand is hosted by Mercury retrograde and also Pallas Athena. To make sense of this video, you have to go first to Mastery in Beauty, okay? If I quoted that right. The video that I released prior to this, you've got to go to that one first and then come here. Do not just keep listening. Go to the other one first and then come back here. Thank you very much. Or it's not going to, it's not going to come together, seamlessly. All right. So anyway, Pallas Athena is keeping us in sight of patterns in our addictive behavior, patterns in our delusion, patterns in how we tend to overlook where the contract is passed across the table and you don't sign the small print. So it's Pallas Athena that has you to take out your glasses whenever there's a contract. Somebody says, hey, I need you to sign this contract, and they just talking real fast. Yeah, just go ahead and sign right here. Yeah, just put the initials right there. Yeah, you don't need to read that. Yeah, just go ahead, pal, sign right there. No, motherfucker, I do need to read it. And you're not gonna rush me. Stop the fucking fast talking. Because I don't know about you, but I got time, nigga. Ain't no fast talking, smooth talking, and all of that, trying to rush past it. Oh, just sign here. You don't need to read that. No, I do need to read it. You know what I mean? That's you slowing down time to give yourself time to be just to yourself as you move and flow. Pallas Athena is recognizing these patterns. That's the wisdom that's present with you now, okay? So you're no longer that teenager that just signs away on all these lines of credit, incurring debt upon yourself that goes beyond your capacity. You're swimming in debt. I'll give you an example of this. When I was just 20 years old, I was about 20. I was around 20 years old, give or take, somewhere around there, 19 to 20. I wanted to learn how to fix cars. And so, one morning, I was looking at my neighbor who was fixing his car. And I really envied the fact that he could go under there, take everything apart and, just keep on going. And, I didn't know anything about it. So at the time, I was a department manager at Walmart. And I immediately went into action behind that prayer because I looked out there, I said, I wish I could do that. And so when I got to work, I said, listen, I need to be transferred to the Tire Lube Express. Because I stayed up all night reflecting and I'm like, yo, if I can make a start, I can finish. All I need to do is get my foot in the situation. I know I can learn it. I know I can. So what would be the first, what does the first steps of that look like and manifest in that? You know what I mean? So I'm up all night brainstorming. I'm like, oh, I do have access to that. It was under my nose all the time. I could go to the Tire Lube Express. So I could start learning how to, change tires and do oil. So I went straight to my manager, the regional manager, because they were in town or whatever at that time, walking through the place or whatever. And I had the conversation with them and other, and the store manager, and they didn't have a problem with it. I'm gonna go to the Tire Lube Express and I drop down in pay, okay, because I became a technician instead of a manager or whatever. And I didn't mind it because I valued the knowledge, the experience more. And so when I got there, I learned how to, change tires. I learned how to change oil and all these other little things, change air filters, and, those little details. Those little details. Later on, that led to, I went outside of that because that wasn't enough. I wasn't satisfied with, having mastered that. And I found a local mechanic and I said, hey, listen, I'd love to, help you out around the shop. If you could teach me how to, fix cars, change an alternator, timing belt, stuff like that. I don't know. Just teach me. And I told him, my young mind, you don't even have to pay me. I said, you don't have to pay me. I just want to learn, He was like, whoa, slow your roll. I'm not going to let you work it. I'll pay you. You know what I mean? So, he took me under his wing. We became, really close. I became the muse. He became the master. Okay. And again, you're going to hear that in this discourse, that's what was happening. Okay. I was a muse and he was a master. So I renewed his enthusiasm, okay, and his perception of himself as someone who mastered car mechanics, when he was fixing cars for 30 years. And here I am, this young blood that comes along, you know what I'm saying, eager and inspired by, this guy who can do things that I just can't do, And it was one hand wash the other. It's like I lifted his spirit and he gave me the inspiration to learn, and I gave him the inspiration to renew his enthusiasm, as a master. Okay, so I could expand bigger and better, And so as I learned things, and as he was able to accomplish things through the fruits of my knowledge, under his mentorship, he began to feel more confident about taking on greater responsibility, about expanding, doing more. Okay, remember, Jupiter is a ruler of Pisces. Okay, it does have an expansive aspect to it. Okay, understand that. And so, with that being said, it began with the concept, it began with the dream state of myself, Pisces, that I can be a mechanic. I can be a person who knows how to fix cars. I visualized it first. It was in my imagination and I acted on it. Okay, that's just like the Neptune-Saturn conjunction at the cusp of Aries. You act on it and there's going to be resistance because there's things you have to learn. You have to find the humility to be a learner. Okay? You have to shut the fuck up and become receptive. You have to take humility. You have to be corrected. Okay? Close your mouth and open your ears. In order to transfer from Pisces into Aries, where you are now embodying that reality. You are the mechanic, once you have passed through, seasons with, that tutelage. You understand what I'm saying? And so, I presented myself as the Venus, in the Pisces situation, okay? I was the Venus in the Pisces situation where I fed him inspiration and he fed me inspiration. So it was a synastry of Venus Pisces, okay? That both of us had a concept based on the mutual intimate connection that we had as the master and the muse, the young guy and the elder. You know what I'm saying? Daniel's son and Mr. Miyagi, type energy. Again, if you don't go to the first video, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Okay? If you didn't go to the first video, stop right here, go over there so all this can make sense. Anyway, moving on. So, back to the credit thing. I tell long stories. Having said that, I became what I was claiming of myself, a mechanic. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing. I had knowledge, but I didn't have wisdom. However, I was still calling myself a mechanic, as I was learning. Not knowing that I would have, a whole, decades later, to continue learning all these things. And so one day, a Snap-on vendor pulled in front of the mechanic shop. Okay, Snap-on. For those of you who don't know, there's Mac tools, there's Snap-on, they have really fancy tools, great quality tools. I mean, they are tools that men fall in love with, okay? So every man fell in love with Snap-on or Mac tools once in their life, okay? If you're a mechanical person, if you're, somebody who fixes on things, a blue-collar guy, you fell in love with Mac tools or Snap tools at some point in your life, okay? You fell for it too. So anyway, the Snap-on truck pulled up. He whistles, hey, you're a car mechanic, right? Yeah, I'm a car mechanic. I'm tugging on my belt. My ego's all in front of me. Yeah, what you got? Yeah, look at this nice, Nifty tool set. Yeah, got the whole tool chest. You got all the tools you need right there. Look at this fancy gadget. You like that too? Oh yeah, I can use one of those, and I'm all excited about it. So uh, it was already sold, because in my mind I said, that I needed. My ego was saying that, it's supposed to be mine. Now, what is that? That's a Pisces situation, okay? Because instead of having boundaries for myself in my own best interest, I'm feeling entitled, okay, to identifying with that tool set. I'm not thinking about what's best for me. I'm not thinking about what burden I'm creating for myself. Okay, I don't have any boundaries. Okay, so I'm under this young, fresh mind impression that, oh wow, whatever I got to do to get it, I got to have those tools. So he says, oh, no problem. Yeah, you could get these tools. Yeah. So how's your credit? Actually, I don't have any credit. You know what I'm saying? I'm young. I never, took out a line of credit, all this other stuff. And so he's like, oh, no problem. Yeah, we just get you, signed up and everything. And, you just keep it with you right here at the shop, right? That's the shop you work at? Yeah, this is the shop I work at. Yeah. I can put it right there. I can have all of this. All of this is mine. So I'm wagging my tail at the tool set. So I asked about the prices, and he rolls out all the the numbers and everything. Yeah, it'd be $1,500, and the chest is yours, the tools, everything go with it. Yeah, no problem. So here's what you do: you make payments to it, no big deal. I mean, you work here, you make plenty of money, right? Yeah, I make plenty of money. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, he gained me. You know what I'm saying? He gassed me up. You know what I mean? He had a good game, call salesman type energy and all of that. I fell for it. You know what I'm saying? Rizzed me up. And so I put myself into a contract. I didn't read the fine print. Okay? I didn't read the agreement. I didn't understand the terms of the contract. Why? I'm caught up in the rapture of Pisces. Okay? I'm spellbound. The tool chest now manifests Venus in Pisces. Okay? That's Venus in Pisces. It's a resource, okay? It's Taurus material, all right? It's a possession, second house, all right? It's something that I covet. It's something I lust for. It's something I desire. I got to have that tool chest, okay? And there's no boundaries with me. I didn't learn boundaries, okay? So this is a lesson on boundaries, but I haven't learned boundaries yet. So he passes the contract across. Oh, whatever I got to do to have it, I got to have it. Yeah, I'll sign right there. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Where else I sign? Right here? You need my initials? Oh, no problem. Didn't read nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so that turns into a burden in reality later on that I'm complaining about. Okay, I can't make the payments. It's messing up my credit. This going on, that's going on. And any adult out here, y'all know how that story turned out. It just turned into a problem, okay? And that affected my credit for, a long time as a youth, okay? And so, lesson learned, all right? So, what Pallas Athena is Pallas Athena is the culmination of your memory of those experiences that were not favorable to you, or those experiences where you lacked boundaries, those experiences where you lacked awareness of your consent, those experiences where you lacked accountability, those experiences where you failed to read the fine print in every situation or circumstance where an object of desire was at hand. You just blended with it. You just molded with it. You just dissolved yourself into it and assumed that there's no price. You assume there is no price. You did not gauge what the responsibilities should include in you having the balance of this sense of fulfillment. Okay, work must go with it. Burden must go with it. Accountability must go with it of some sort. There has to be a balance. If you want the rose, there's thorns that comes with it too. Did you consider the thorns that comes with that rose? Did you read the small print? Okay, and this is not just in a physical way, but I'm presenting this in a physical way so that we can relate to the whole theme and story here, okay, of Pallas Athena bringing back to you patterns that you're supposed to recognize in how you do in the past, how you have done in the past when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to you taking accountability for your best interest for yourself and not dissolving yourself into dream states, illusions, ecstasy, things that feel good, things that put you in a trance, things that get you sexually charged up, things that get you aroused, things that get you overexcited, okay? Stuff that just rushes through your blood and your emotion and you can't control yourself. So you just start doing things, saying things, creating things that cause you problems and regret later on. And if you don't have the strength to show accountability, you will start blaming other people. You will start playing the victim. You will roll over and play possum. You would say, oh, it's everybody's fault. Everybody's always hurt me. Everybody's always out to get me. Why don't nobody this? Why don't nobody that? And it just turns into a cycle of that. So Pallas Athena has to present the patterns, has to show the patterns in all of these things so that we could bring a safeguard as we approach incoming opportunities, so that we can stay ahead of the burden of negligence with incoming opportunities, okay? So that we can manage incoming blessings and opportunities maturely as a master would and not as a student would, okay? So Pallas Athena is a safeguard for what Venus is about to bring in through Pisces. Venus is about to bring in opportunities and impure blessings, okay, that you have been longing for, that you have been hoping for, that you really needed. And it's going to serve like a muse in your life. It's going to serve like a mercy in your life of inspiration. It's going to have a sense of fulfillment, a sense of joy, a sense of peace, a sense of pleasure, a sense of you wanting to blend and belong in identifying with that particular kind of energy. I'm not saying that you're about to ascend up into heaven, that you're about to have a rapture. That's not what I'm saying, okay? Don't get ahead of yourself. But what I'm saying is Venus is bringing the blessing that Saturn has now authorized to you, because Saturn has taught you the things that you need to understand about accountability, about being responsible, about having awareness of where your consent is at any given time, taking account for what you co-created into existence as an experience or as a reality, not blaming other people, okay, what you co-created, okay. Also, where you the three phases, okay, first, second, third decan of Pisces. Saturn wants to release blessings that matches each one of those phases, okay? First decan, second decan, third decan. Mercury will have a lot to do with how these blessings get released. Mercury is going to go into retrograde, as you know, that as Mercury builds up to the retrograde, to station retrograde, a crisis always manifests from Mercury. That crisis is always guaranteed to be resolved by the end of the Mercury retrograde, okay? So it's not something for you to trip about, it's something for you to be educated about. It's something for you to become aware of and informed of, so that you do not spoil the blessings that comes with the alignment that's taken place, okay? It puts you in a competent position so that you can properly manage your affairs or blessings and opportunities, because there is also always a release immediate after the Mercury retrograde. There's always a hold just before the retrograde, and there's a release after the retrograde, okay? So Venus is going to have a lot to do with how or what is being expressed as what's getting held and what's getting released during that retrograde, okay? And import and responsibility is a big theme of this. It's a big theme. So I'm going to explain some great things that are coming in energies. Jupiter is in Cancer. All right? Jupiter is Lord of both Sagittarius and Pisces. Okay? So what's the commonality here? All right? The root is what's in the best interest of the inner child, what's in the best interest of my emotional stability and identity, matriarch in a matriarchal sense, what honors my morals and my convictions and my values. Anything that goes against our morals, our convictions, our values, it is inappropriate. Anything that goes against righteousness, which is, okay, found in the one of the territories of Jupiter. What is righteousness? It is to be authentic. It is to be authentic. Okay? It's not to go to church. It's to be authentic. So anything that is inauthentic, superficial, okay, it's inappropriate. Anything that causes you to go against, betray, or place in a compromising situation, your inner child, to go against the fabric of your spirit and soul and conviction, and that which you know to be true, that which you know to be right. Anything that goes against the conscience, it's inappropriate. Anything that goes against you taking care of yourself, honoring yourself, not out of narcissism, not out of conceit, not out of arrogance, okay, but taking care of yourself at a soul level, honoring yourself at a soul level, preserving your dignity, your self-respect, your modesty, your chastity, your pride. Understand that, okay? Your God image is inappropriate for us. So it sets the context of which expansion is to take place. We are expanding the matriarchal experience of ourself, the matriarchal creation of ourself, the matriarchal alignment with ourself, the matriarchal return of ourselves as a people in this planet as it was before corporate monarchs spread throughout the earth under the entitlement of unum sanctum, doctrine of discovery, manifest destiny, all over the world. And y'all know that story. Okay? So we're going back to who were we before these interruptions. This is the point of evolution that's taking place, and it's in the microcosm, and it's also in the macrocosm sense. Understand that. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius, where the unrefined truth of ourself that has not yet found a place in society. It's coming out of the wilderness. We didn't find a place for this aspect of ourself in society. We didn't find a place for this aspect and expression of ourself in the world because it doesn't exist yet. We have to create it so that it can dwell in it. You see what I'm saying? And so Jupiter with Pisces, okay? Jupiter also co-rules Pisces. All right, understand that. So the matriarchal intention is trine. It is trine with what's happening here. Okay, the matriarchal intention is trine. It's favorable to what is happening here. And so this is expansion. It's creating abundance in the life, good fortune in the life. Okay, and what this has to include is somewhere in your life you are connected to a source of access to, higher learning, teachers, gurus, spiritual authorities in your life, people who are helping you to stay illuminated as your pathways unfold. And that obviously is an essential key aspect of how we're arriving at this new reality that we are co-creating into existence, and intimacy has everything to do with it. If you are not a person who honors and respects intimacy, if you're a person who's afraid of intimacy, if you're a person who rejects intimacy, you're not going to make it, because that's what it's founded on. And woe unto you if you think intimacy means getting in a bed together. If you think it means having sex, woe unto you. God help you. If that's all you could come up with what intimacy means. Possessing somebody, controlling somebody, subduing someone into a behavior or into a function that makes you feel secure. That's not intimacy. These things are control, self-exploitation. It interferes with intimacy. It interferes with love. Love has to have freedom. And love is after truth. But we have to have the courage to claim that. Because freedom is not for the weak. It's not for the cowardly. Nor is truth. Understand that. So there are many who come and claim my name, Master, Master. And what did he say he's going to say? I know ye not. Many will come and say my name, but I know ye not. I don't know you. You don't know truth. And you don't know the bravery that you have to muster to get to freedom, the courage that it takes to get to freedom. No, you don't know love. So love should not come out your mouth. You should not speak on love if you don't want no parts of that. You don't want no parts of truth. You don't want no parts of the burdens of claiming freedom. Don't let love come out your mouth, because you a fucking liar. You're a fraud and you're a liar. You're lying on love. You're a piece of shit lie talking about love. You're a poet. That's what you are. A delusional poet. Don't speak on love if you can't brave truth, if you can't brave what it takes to claim freedom in your life. And after that, if you truly are claiming love, you want others to be free as well, and that takes heart. But how many of us only thinking about ourselves? Anyway, let's go into this discourse, give us some reflection and thought. Be sure to hit the like button. Respect the fact that this is freely available to you. Have some consideration, have some decency. You know what I mean? It's like I'm talking to a bunch of fucking savages. Show me that you not savages out there, like for real. Show me that somebody raised your motherfucking ass. Hit the fucking like button. Show me that somebody raised your wild ass. I would like to believe that it's YouTube fucking with the algorithm and YouTube don't want me to have another like. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe that. Somebody behind the scenes, you know, a good friend of mine, Sean, she enlightened me with that thought. And I'm humble enough to consider it. I'm humble enough to change my mind. I'm humble enough because I'm eager to share, not to gain money or rewards from people. I don't want your fucking money. But if that's what it takes to transfer the burden to you instead of just on my fucking self, because most of y'all want to act like fucking savages, then so be it. But I'm humble enough to get a benefit of the doubt because I sincerely just want this to reach everybody that it can, so we all can be blessed together. Understand that. So anyway, let's consider Pisces Venus transit, the Muse and the Master, and don't take a good thing and ruin it because of your toxic, selfish intentions and addictions. Understand that. Let's honor the opportunities and blessings, and let's honor all the good people in our life. You heard? Let's go. So before I go into other things, what I want to start with explaining is the fact that there's a collapse of the system, Aquarius, which actually is founded on Capricorn Pluto completion. And with the combination of Venus, Pallas Athena, and Mercury, we're seeing the gain, the benefit, the opportunity, and the beauty in this collapse. We're starting to see the value on the other side of forms that we used to be attached to, systems that we used to identify with and attach ourselves to. We're learning that value has transferred, and that was through Taurus Uranus retrograde, internalizing an innovation of how we determine value in life, in this world, in the material realm, especially through algorithms of Taurus. What is valuable? What remains valuable? What's important? What takes precedence? What do I value? What stabilizes my sense of fulfillment? What remains consistent as everything else fades away? So, as trust dissolves in the systems, hierarchies, inappropriate authorities and powers, leadership, organizations, government, and locally, power dynamics and legacies in families and communities or relationships that we finally recovered our identity from being entrapped to or enslaved to. We're seeing that the other side is where the value is at. We're seeing that behind this shell of decay is where the beauty is at. And we're getting back to it. As every piece crumbles and falls down, you start to see a new vision. The vision starts to reveal itself. It's not something you have to think. It's not something you have to exert yourself to realize. The vision is already there behind the illusion. So as it crumbles and collapses down, you begin to see the landscape for what it is. You begin to see the estate for what it really is, and you see the opportunity in it. Through love, through conviction, through truth, through compassion, from the necessity that you have suffered to realize, you start to see what should be there in the first place, what should have been there all along, what really makes sense to the soul, because we finally took our soul back. Now life can begin to make sense of what we're supposed to create and what should be there. And this is going to become a unified conviction all over the earth. Not with everyone, but there's going to be a choir that sings the same song. That we're done playing that game, we're done relating to it, we're done identifying with it, we're done giving our soul and our energy to it, and we have things to create, and they are beautiful things. They are meaningful things. They are things that heal. They are things that move us forward. They are things that evolve us. There are things that succeed the evils that were. And out of the chaos comes a clarity. The patterns are recognized. We've been here before. We've seen this. We know how this ends. We know where it's going. And for that, we know exactly what to do. We're not helpless. We're not limited. We're not without. We have everything that we need if we can learn how to love. We'll never run out of inspiration. We'll never run out of motivation. We'll never run out of creativity. We'll never run out of resources. Because our imagination is rich, because we recovered our imagination to ourselves. It's no longer owned by corporate world. Our bodies. It's just a matter of time before we even take that back from the corporate world. And we're deciding what the future is going to look like. Cancer, Jupiter, direct motion is going to push us all the way into that process. But out of love and compassion at the depth of the self, we are bringing in the future from that conviction alone. Hopefully we learn that source really is love. It really is relationships. It really is intimacy. It really is who you learn to embrace into your life universally with love. Not ego, not attachment, not control, but the community that you created from the few who were sincere. You have every opportunity in front of you with that. Let's look into some details. Master and the Muse. So before you go into this video, there's a basis for this to understand with the video or message that I recorded previous to this, and it's titled Mastery is Beautiful. It's titled Mastery is Beautiful. That will set the basis for what you're about to listen to. Now, Pallas Athena and Mercury in Pisces. This has given us the ability to do two things, which is, through Mercury, to articulate intuitive awareness. To articulate intuitive awareness. To interpret the symbols of intuitive awareness. And this comes naturally through conversations, interactions, and exchanges where we have found the humility, the courage, and acceptance to be vulnerable enough to step into intimacy with others. It takes place where we let our guard down, where we lean into an enthusiastic outlook on love, on creativity, on the possibilities in life. And that's because we learn how to trust ourselves by aligning with what righteousness is, authenticity. The commitment to prioritize the status of the inner child and never violating that integrity. Clarifying our morals, our values, what we believe in, what we stand for. And seeing ourselves as a champion of the love that should be there. A champion of the good that should be there. This will set the basis of us opening up to having the conversations and interactions that we need, that helps us to realize what we have learned, what the body has learned intuitively. It's sparring, it's play fighting, but in the courts of love, in the courts of compassion, in the courts of sympathy, empathy, care, selflessness. All of these things, the spiritual heights of ourself, we're sparring and we're play fighting, and you get to realize what you learn. That sparring and play fighting especially takes place in romantic ideals, where there's mutual admiration and trust. And between you and another or others, the body is going over intimate spaces where you have been at before, or even with organizations, institutions, a job, a career pathway. This can apply many ways according to the context of the house where you have Pisces. What you're going to start noticing is that you learned a lot of things about boundaries. You learned a lot of things about separating your emotional field and separating your identity from assumptions and judgments of others. And because of that, you rest secure in your own identity. And that gives you a sense of clarity as you're listening. It gives you the ability to be receptive to what's taking place around you in environments and with persons. That receptivity allows you to recognize meaning in what's being exchanged, because you're not guarded. You're not taking assumptions. You're not leaning on and expecting false expectations out of yourself. You're disillusioned. So you're able to be receptive. And what we start to learn is We're in an altered reality. And that altered reality is now it's time to go back over all of the things that you learned. Now it's time to realize all the things that I was teaching you. And when I say I, Source, what was Source teaching you? What was God teaching you? What were you supposed to be learning by what you suffered? By what you passed through? Mercury is how we become aware of what those things are so that we could put it in words, so that we can name it. What comes out of Pisces, if we're going in the direction of something evolving out of Pisces, it must be named. It has to have a name. It requires a name because it is essence. What is of the essence, it cannot be named because essence is one. Coming out of essence, it must take form in its unique expressions. Therefore, you must name what comes out of the essence. We're bringing out of essence the fruit of our works to Aries. And we're bringing it out with Neptune and Saturn. So because of that, it's for us to now name what we have learned. Name the faculties, powers, and forces that we have extracted from Source, that we still have with us. So, for example, you take a car, that's a form. You bring it to Pisces, and you melt it down in the ladle of Pisces, which is dissolve. You dissolve that form of experience in your life that you were attached to, that you were used to. And now that you dissolved and it became a liquid, you separate the properties, okay? You separate the nickel. You separate the steel. You separate the iron. You separate the gold. You separate the copper. You separate all of the different metal properties and you name them. You label them. And then you take inventory. Now that I have copper, I have iron, I have gold, I have nickel, I have silver, I have steel, I have lead. Now that we named it, it's at the bridge, it's at the cusp of Pisces and Aries. That's the 0 degree Aries. The 0 and 1 degree Aries, that's where it takes a name. That's where what essence is making its way into physicality, into materialization, into creativity, which is subjection to the laws of physics, where it initiates its density in the elements. It requires a name. And that's Mercury. When we have the Mercury retrograde, we will go down memory lane in these different things. We will go all the way back through all of the cycles that we had pertaining to Pisces in first decan, second decan, third decan of direct and retrograde motion, Saturn. The Mercury retrograde will culminate all of these lessons together so that we can name all of the lessons that we have learned. And the direct motion retrograde, direct motion retrograde, direct motion retrograde, direct motion Pisces Saturn transits 3 times, 3 decans. So the Mercury retrograde will make sure that we have not lost those lessons, that we have not forgotten those lessons, that we are aware of what those lessons were, that we have the ability to name it and articulate it, that we know that it is within us. And it will be as natural as the interactions that we have with others that brings it to our awareness. And you will say in that instant, I didn't know I knew this, but now I know I knew this because in this conversation, I'm just starting to realize that I really did learn this and I didn't know that I learned this. And this is where you have achieved mastery that has become so perfected in you that it reaches the status of mastery and beauty. Mastery and beauty. Mastery is beauty. And you have to go to the video before this to get that breakdown of why I'm saying that. If you haven't watched the video that goes before this, you need to stop, you need to pause, you need to go back to the other one, listen to it first, and then come back to this one. So there's no assumptions. Pallas Athena is showing us the patterns that we were supposed to learn. And as we see those patterns, Mercury is assisting in us labeling and naming those patterns, which is identifying the new spiritual technology that is within us. And this is the same as, for example, in boxing, there may be combos where a jab might be called a 1, a hook might be called a 2, an uppercut might be called a 3. Okay? And so Capricorn is, your physical conditioning. That's the repetition of hitting the punching bag, jogging, jump roping, everything that conditions the body. Aquarius are the details that conditions the nervous system and wire strength and the nervous system to the intellect. Okay, so this is you learning what a 1, a 2, and a 3 is. Pisces is where it's intuitive. It's where you don't have to think about it anymore. When the coach says 1, 2, 2, 3, you automatically know what combo that is. You don't have to think it. All right, give me a 3, boom. Give me a 2, boom. 2, 3, boom, boom. 2, 3, 1, boom, boom, boom. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, boom, 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 boom. You see what I'm saying? So it's intuitive at that point because it's in the body. It's not in the head. Pallas Athena is that. It's you having the ability to listen to the coach say 1, 2, 2, 3, boom, 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 boom. And it's second nature. It's second nature. You recognizing what the patterns mean. Mercury is to be able to connect the numbers to those automatic features in yourself of the intelligence of the body. Mercury is allowing you to relate to those as classifications, orders, sets, groups, combos. Okay? For example, the coach may say, I want you to run a 1, 2, 3 when you get right here. And when you're in a situation like this, I want you to do a 3, 3, 1. And when you're in a situation like this, I want you to do a 3, 3, 2, 3, 2. You see what I'm saying? So Mercury is allowing you to articulate those Pallas Athena patterns. The Pallas Athena patterns is is the intelligence of the body that recognizes combinations. And Mercury is to be able to identify them, such as giving them names or numbers, okay, by which they can be, called as a command at any given time. You see what I'm saying? So, now that that's clarified, Venus coming into Pisces, this really accelerates everything. Because what ends up happening now is there's a muse. A muse enters the situation. Now you have a master, but what happens when you bring along a muse? Let me give an example of a muse. You have a master and okay, let's say you're a really good rapper, okay? You want to be a rapper all your life, okay? And you freestyle and writing lyrics and all these other things. And there's certain rappers that you really look up to, okay? Let's say Nas, okay? You really look up to Nas. You were inspired by Nas since you was a little kid. He made you want to start rapping, and everything. So you got really good at it. You went through hell and high water to become really good at being a rapper. People were laughing at you. They used to talk shit about your sneakers being busted. You know what I'm saying? You stand outside trying to sell your music, and everybody's rejecting you, and you're going through all this, humiliation and shame, trying to bring yourself up and make something of yourself as an artist. And you finally made it to where you have mastered it, and someone tells you that Nas is coming to your community, and this is the only shot you got, you know? And so you're right there, and Nas is in the same room as you at some concert that you're doing or something, right? And you know Nas is in the crowd. That Nas as a muse has you supercharged with inspiration that your mastery reaches a depth. Your artistic expression reaches a depth in yourself that's inspired by love. It's inspired by beauty. It's inspired by conviction and faith. It's inspired by admiration. It's inspired by all of the spiritual faculties that reach to the depth of your soul. And what you start to realize is this gives you the ability to reach for a mastery and perfection that your cognitive mind could never bring down. And you shock yourself, you blow your mind with what you express because your heart is supercharged by the muse. This could also be, for example, somebody enters your life and they love you. You've been walking around feeling loveless, rejected by the world. Everybody giving you no. Everybody slamming the door in your face. Everybody just, bullshitting you. Playing you, rejecting you, telling you you're not good enough. And somebody comes along and sees you for who you really are, sees the value that you really have. They see your genius. They see your talent. They see everything about you that you have reached of mastery and art and beauty, even to the point where you can't even see it yourself, but they see it. So they call it out of you. They inspire it from you. And don't limit this, to romance, okay? This could be in business, it could be in career path or whatever else. But the feedback is coming where somebody starts to recognize and see you as a master. And you start to see them as a muse. And there's a mutual connection, there's a mutual bond, there's a mutual love. And don't reduce love to romance, okay? Don't do that. There's a mutual love, because what I'm saying is there's a charged, positive, creative, spiritual force that's supercharged between you and the other person that connects you to a sense of fulfillment, purpose, clarity, and identity, and inspiration and motivation at the same time, okay? So the muse or the Venus that enters into Pisces is looking at you as a master, and you're looking at the Venus as a muse. And this is somebody who's witnessing you at mastery, witnessing you that you have achieved that mastery, that you really are there, and it is beautiful, and it blows their mind, it inspires them. You're inspirational to them. You're motivational to them, and they look at you like, wow, I wish that I could incorporate such qualities, such mastery into myself. I'm amazed by you. You inspire me to be better. You inspire me to be a better person. You inspire me to rise higher. And the master feels this conviction. They receive this out of the muse. And the master looks back at the muse, and that admiration, it causes them to dissolve their ego. It causes them to dissolve their pride. It causes them to dissolve their boundaries in a healthy way. And they open up out of compassion, out of love, out of empathy to the muse. And they recognize, this person sees me for who I really am. This person appreciates me for all of my suffering and all that it took to get here, while nobody else could see. And I'm so appreciative, I'm so thankful. I'm going to bless them with everything that I know and understand. I'm going to share with them. I'm going to pour into them. I'm going to nurture this person. Because essentially what you're doing is you're healing your past self in them. That's your past self that you're healing in them. And you're going to find that there's a correlation between this Venus archetype and your 12th house person that you used to be in lack of love and illumination. So Who you used to be and where you used to be at the 12th house before illumination allowed you to transform that 12th house into universality, universal love, eternal compassion, understanding, empathy, unconditional love. When it was a shadow, struggle, and curse from the blood, curse from the family. When it was something that you felt was denied you. You see it in this person. And because you see it in this person, you see yourself in that person as a muse. And you say to yourself, I love this person because I love myself. I have compassion for this person because I have compassion for myself. This person reminds me of who I was before I got here. This person reminds me of what I had to go through to get here. And I will make sure this person doesn't have to go through the things that I had to go through to get these jewels, to get these blessings, to get this light, to get this love, to get this power of transformation and healing that I was deprived of. I will make sure they get it. I will make sure that they receive it. I will not leave them behind. I will not betray them. I will not forget them. I will not be arrogant and condescending. I will not deny the light. I will not deny the blessing. I will not pretend like I can't see their greatness. I will call it out of them. I will insist that they stand up as high and tall as they can. If they stand at 5 feet, I will make sure they stand at 7 feet. It's personal to you. Because you feel like you're healing yourself. You feel like you're loving yourself. You feel like you're showing up for the self when nobody else did. And this person becomes a source of inspiration to you. You're the hero out of the ghetto, like Mike Tyson from Brownsville, New York. If you go to Brownsville, New York, it's the hardest part of New York City. It is a hopeless place. Brooklyn, New York, the hardest place in New York City, Brownsville, East New York. That's where Tyson is from. And there's also Shannon Brooks. Let's go champ. He always says, let's go champs. Shannon Briggs. They both are from Brownsville, New York, the hardest place in New York. And you can imagine, like, they become world champions. They become the symbol of strength and resilience. Mastery that turned into beauty. Okay? They turn boxing into a beautiful art. And they go back to this hopeless place, this hopeless hood, and they see the children there. And they look in all of their faces and they see their own sufferings. They see what they went through. That is the master and the muse right there. And that is what it feels like. That's what it looks like to know unconditional love, to know perfect love. It's that Shannon Briggs and Mike Tyson, when they go to Brooklyn, New York, and they see these, these little kids, they see their self. They see what they went through. They see what they suffered. Why you think Shannon Briggs never leaves Brownsville? He's always in Brownsville, New York. Mike Tyson always comes back to Brownsville, New York. Why do they come back? Because they're coming back to love on their self in the form of the children that are there, to keep them inspired in a hopeless place. That's where the unconditional love is at. That's where the real love is at. That is the purest love. And this is us experiencing the purest love through this level of intimacy, through this line of intimacy. Is that you're recognizing that somebody is who you used to be. And they're admiring you for overcoming all that you had to overcome. They're appreciating you for persevering in all that you had to persevere to get there. And so unconditional love is giving us a rebirth. It's giving us a healing. It's giving us revelation and inspiration into how should we now create. Because what the muse does for the master is it inspires the master to continue creating selflessly, to continue creating out of love, to continue creating from a vision of self-awareness and the power of a healing love that is medicinal. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep being this person. I'm just going to expand it. I'm going to be universal. I'm going to reach all because you inspire me. And it goes the other way with the muse. The muse is inspired to create. The muse heals. They mutually heal each other. They mutually inspire each other. They mutually elevate each other. The master perfects his ability to create, or her, and the muse perfects their ability to ascend and transmute. And so it works hand in hand. So Venus is also exalted in Pisces, is what we also want to be mindful of, is the fact that Venus is exalted in Pisces. With Venus being exalted in Pisces, this is an overwhelming force. Inspiration is here finally. True love is here finally. But don't reduce it to simple romance. Don't reduce it to brainless bullshit. Don't reduce it to your sexual impulses. Don't insult love like that. Do not insult love like that. Don't you dare. Don't disrespect love like that. What you don't want to do with Pisces Venus energy is you don't want to bring it back into the ego. You don't want to let it fall into the ego. What does it look like to let it fall into the ego? You destroy it. You destroy it by trying to control it. You destroy it by subjecting it to your sexual lust. You destroy it by using it as a means to escape from accountability or due process that gets you results in the spirit or emotion. You destroy it by using it as a cover-up or another addiction. You destroy it by using it as a serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine hit. You destroy it by using it to cope instead of learning how to heal. You destroy it by using it for any of these selfish aims and means of, such as escaping from reality, indulging into someone else's identity instead of seeing the polarity here, instead of seeing the terms of the relationship, that it is meant for your spiritual ascent. And there's a mutual obligation here in the spirit. So when you reduce it to your stomach to consume, when you reduce it to your groins to just get off on, when you reduce it to keep yourself escape from reality and in the ecstasy of delusion and romance, you already fucked it up. You already cursed it. You already sent it back into the essence from whence it came, and it's just a matter of time before it all collapses. You already ruined it because you tried to steal from heaven and run to earth with it. If you try to steal from heaven and run to earth with it, you will lose it. You won't have it anymore. It's a divine connection, and your ego doesn't fucking belong in it. Keep your goddamn ego out this motherfucker. It's not a fucking porno page for you to just start jacking off to it. That's not what it's meant for. It's meant for creation. It's meant for healing. It's meant to sustain inspiration. It's meant to answer the necessities that are demanding us. It's meant to bring in the most beautiful love that we can conceive. But when we make it a subject and possession of our ego, that's when you fucking destroy it. You ruin it. You fucking ruin it. Because you're always trying to control some shit. Be with it. Interact with it. Work with it. Be inspired by it. Share through it. Receive it and give it. Be part of the give and take, the exchange, the mutual healing, the yin and the yang, the giving and receiving. Making sure that it's always mutual. And you will find that it will never run out. But this is not the time to fuck around and find out about the fact that we are done with the lessons of attachment and possession in this world. Nobody is going to be attaching and possessing. You can share experiences, you can share blessings, but you're not allowed to attach or possess another motherfucker. Get it together. Visionaries who come together to co-create. Masters who come together to co-create. And do not assume that you are the sole master. Because just as you are master at something, the other person who is the muse in your reality is also a master of you while you're a muse in their reality. It is mutual. It's mutual. And if you fail to see the master in that person, that's your fault. That's your arrogance. That's your conceit. That's the sickness in your assumptions and your refusal to honor others just as you like to be honored. To see the greatness in others, but yet you want to be recognized for the greatness in you, but you can't see and call forth the greatness in others. Come forth, Lazarus. Come forth, Lazarus. Come forth, Lazarus. You can't do that with others. But you want it done to you. You can't love others unconditionally, but you want to be loved unconditionally. You reduce everything to fucking prostitution. Where intimacy is based on a monetary exchange. Intimacy has a price, an ultimatum. Lose the density of the body. Vaporize into spirit, where these things are no longer burdens. And know that Pallas Athena is helping you to remember the patterns where you got caught up in toxicity, where you kept creating from your ego instead of the spirit. It's showing you the patterns where you failed to have healthy boundaries, which boundaries are not supposed to separate. It's supposed to preserve the dignity, the self-respect, the security that the inner child needs and requires. Boundaries are not dividers when they are healthy. It's teaching you that you are to stand in the clarity of your own identity and to honor the clarity of others' identity without losing your identity in someone else. Because then what is the point? If you're not in your identity and they're not in their identity, where is the synastry? The synastry is the whole fucking point of intimacy. Synastry. You are sharing and exchanging the powers of planets and energies in unison. Fusing them together as new powers embodied. Through intimacy. We're learning to see intimacy without seeing a fucking nut. Intimacy without busting a fucking nut. Intimacy without a bunch of fucking and sex, nigga. Like, how long are we gonna keep reducing intimacy to these sick concepts? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, be a nun and pretend like, you don't have sexual impulses. I get it. I totally get it. But goddamn, look how intimacy has been reduced to something that is so far beneath it. Is what I'm saying. And we have the opportunity to recover that. So anyway, this is the first video or message that I recorded that will be on private, right from the recording. And you will have to look at the video list, because I'm not sure if the private videos will show on my video memory menu or not. You may have to select private videos in the channel menu to see what's there or not. What I put up. By this time, you should know why I'm doing this. I'm consistently showing up, putting value up there, and I never put Cash App or Zelle links and all that stuff in my videos, begging for money, asking people for I don't do that shit. Okay, all I ever asked was hit the like button. Resist the algorithm already being against me. That's all I asked was just for that support. I didn't. That's all I asked. There's a lot more that you, the people, could do. To put yourself in my shoes and not assuming that just because I make it look easy, don't mean it's easy to be so consistent. But I just can't keep. I can't allow myself to be treated any kind of way. I just can't. I respect myself too much. Where I'm just showing up and I keep reiterating the message. And lurkers, watchers, you want to watch, you want to consume, you want to take, but you can't do something as simple as hit a fucking like button. Consuming and taking. And at some point, especially as Black Americans, we have to stand up for ourselves. Because we give our gifts and our creativity to the whole entire world. Every nation takes from our creativity. They take from our style. They take from our energy, our influence, and everything else. But in the same breath, we get hatred, we get disrespect, we get condescent, we get denial. We're the secret lust of the planet. Because only in secret do people glorify us. Only in secret do people honor us. But in open, everybody act like they weren't stealing from us. And I'm not going to continue that tradition on. I'm not fucking with that. I'm not jacking that shit. So if that's how it's going to be, fine. Just send me my feed and I'll send you the link to the video and you can continue watching it. But somebody has to carry a burden. Because I'm not going to carry the entire burden. And, after a while, I'm going to be exploring more ways that I can evolve in creative expressions of myself. How can I evolve from here? Okay? And that is without having to do these videos, without having to have a YouTube or so on and so forth, okay? I will find other ways because I'm that creative. I'm like that. I am very creative. I am very resourceful. I am original. I am authentic. My inspiration never runs out and never stops. It never ends. So I will find other ways. So for now, I'll continue to put the videos up there. And, people are just going to have to take a burden now. It's all I could do. I can't take all the hits. You know what I mean? But I do thank you, the few of you who were supportive. I really appreciate it. I thank you. And you really were the only reason why I would show up. But this is the best that I could come up with for now. Stay tuned, you heard?